Hi, I'm Owen from the Sqware marketing team. Today we're going to talk about building the Sqware Meals retail display. Let's get started. So you would have gotten a few different boxes for this entire setup. The big box obviously is for the retail display itself. You may have gotten a few different Sqware Meals boxes with the Sqware Meals products themselves, and another box that has the additional items like the swiig supplements, which will go on the display as well. So I've unpacked all the other pieces from the box and I've set the rest of them aside. We're going to start on the base. And one of the things that I've already done here is to pre-fold all of the scored lines. There's a difference in here between a scored line and a perforated line. The perforated lines are there so that the box can fit into the larger box for shipping. The scored lines are what you're going to need to touch in order to build the thing properly. And you can see the difference here between a scored line that I have already pre-folded and a perforated line, which is just about this, fitting into the shipping box. So, first thing we're going to want to do is bend it out. I've already pre-folded all of the scored lines, as I've mentioned, and now I'm going to flip it over to fold in the sides. So, I'll take the two long sides, fold them in, and then fold the short side in so that the tab fits on the inside. Sometimes it's easier said than done. On the inside of the long tabs. So that looks like that. We'll do the same exact thing on the other side. This comes in here. This comes in here. And we're all set. So I flipped the base back over. Now we're going to fold the platform for the main display. What this is 4 primary folds, 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, I've already pre-folded all of these. So you're going to bend these two sides in. They're the diagonal scored lines, not the perforated lines. I'll hold both these here. I'll take the platform itself, tuck the top tab down, and just push it straight down to catch the two sides. May require a little bit of adjustment. And there we have the base completed. The large white piece of corrugation is the main display piece. On this piece, I've already done all of the pre-folding, as you can see, and I've also punched out the tab receptacles, which look like this. Now there is a specific top and bottom of this piece, which accommodates the shelving that we'll see in just a moment. I've propped up the main display on a chair so that it's easier for you to see, but if you'd rather do this on the floor, that's fine. As you can see, down here, there is about a 1-inch wide perforation and score, along with tabs that are not located at the top. That's how you know the difference. This might be the most intricate process of the entire thing, so I'm holding up the main display so that you can see there are 2 bottom panels, 2 main panels there, and also the outer flaps. These are going to be what help you build that bottom shelf. So if I set this down and I fold in this outer flap, I'm going to take the frontmost panel and fold it inwards and lift this outer flap up and push the bottom tab down. I've gone ahead and done the same thing on the other side. And now that we have what you can see is becoming the bottom shelf, I'm going to make sure that this flap here is pointing upwards, and I'm going to fold in the side panel and close, meaning push into the tab on the back, but at the bottom, the inset for the side panel. I've gone ahead and done the same thing on the other side, and at this point, you have 5 tabs in their slot, 2 on the outside and 3 on the bottom. You just made the bottom shelf. Now we're going to build a shelf. There's a top and a bottom to this shelf. We do have 2 of these, but they're going to fold exactly the same way. The bottom has this additional flap here, and the top has the 2 notches, which I've already punched out. The way the shelf is going to go is after you've pre-folded all of the scoring, it's going to look like this. All you're going to do is take the top flap, fold it all the way in, fold the bottom over it, flip it over. There you've got 2 wings that we're going to tuck into the side of the main display. So in this stage, I've tucked in the top the same as I did the bottom. The only thing you'll notice is that this is much slimmer than that because this acts as a shelf, and this is just the top of the frame. I've also folded the outer flaps, or the side flaps, the middle and the top one, out so that I can position the shelf directly over the pockets that have been created by that bottom flap being turned in. What you're then going to do is take the bottom flap, and you can see this is the bottom of the shelf because it has that additional flap sticking out and down. You're going to take these side tabs and fold them down into the side pockets. There you've created the second shelf. We're going to do the same exact thing for the third. With the main display, we're almost complete. So what I've done is I've folded in the middle tabs directly above the second shelf, and I've positioned the third shelf the same way I had positioned the second shelf above the pockets created on the side of the display. If we just slide those down and in, we're almost there. So I folded in the top side flap on the other side, just like this. And now we've completed assembling the main display. So next we're going to assemble the center column. The center column has tabs on the one side and slots on the inside of the last panel. I'm going to show you this in reverse, but this is how you'll actually be doing it. I've pre-folded everything. You're going to bring the tabs to meet the slots and just put all three of them in. Now you've got the center column. You can tell from the side of the center column where those shelves are going to fit and where this piece is going to fit. So if I face it forward, set the center column on the bottom shelf of the main display, might take a little bit of wriggling, but you'll see that it fits in, is flush with the top, is flush with the bottom, and houses those shelves on all sides. It's a pretty clean design. The last piece for this display that we're going to have to assemble is the trifold holder. It's a little tricky. It's kind of silly that a little piece would be tricky, but that's just how it works. You can see that the bottom folds out and creates a tab. That tab is going to go into that slot right here. And these tabs at the top are going to fold into the inside here, and this outer piece is going to create the 90-degree angle that slips into each of these side slots. I'm going to do half and then show you what the other half looks like. So I've already folded the one side into the 90-degree angle and stuck the bottom tab into that slot just a little bit, but not all the way, so that I have a little wiggle room while I'm trying to put the final tabs in. So I'm going to take this piece here and fold it down. It will sit on the inside of the trifold holder. And then I'm going to fold this, the remaining tab, into a 90-degree angle and push that into the slot. If I do that at the same time that I push the bottom slot in, we have a completed center display. We've got our completed base and our completed main display. This is the easiest part of the entire assembly. Place the display on the base and line it up at the edges. It should look like this from the front and that from the side. I've left the display turned to the side because it'll be easier to see how we're going to put the tabs in on the header display. So the header display has the bottom flap, which will sit across the top of the display itself, and these side tabs, which will tuck into these little pockets here on the side. So essentially, you can just set it there like that, fold this tab up and in, and with a little counter pressure, push it into the side. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. There are a couple of steps remaining to properly display the products. There are two of these backers. The backers are going to go into the middle shelves to the outside. The other one I've already placed there. The additional products will go on that center shelf. So the small scoopable powder jars will go on the outside where you've placed that backer. You can have 2 of them side by side. And the pill bottles will go 2 deep where there's space next to the center column. The Sqware Meals bottles go on the bottom shelf and on the top shelf. It's up to you how you want to display them. All vanilla on one side, all chocolate on one side, all plant on the top, all whey on the bottom. However you want to do it is fine, but you're going to use these stickers to properly identify the products in the space that they're in. So I've applied all of the stickers to the display, centering them on the bottom and top shelf within the space, and on the middle shelf, aligning them to the outside and the center column for each of the open spaces. This will identify all of your products where they need to go once you sell them. All that's left to do is to fill up your display with product and start selling. Have a great day.